Hi, friends, and welcome back to Mystic Bloom, a space for spiritual exploration and mystical awakening. Today, I want to talk about religion, tradition, ritual, and I'm going to relate it to the Advent season, which is upon us. So, Advent is a sacred season in the Christian faith. It is a time of reflection and preparation leading up to Christmas, and it spans the 4 weeks before Christmas, and it's marked by lighting of candles. So most people know about Advent calendars. These days, they've kind of turned into a tradition, right? Where there's little things of chocolate for kids or a little door that you open on each day. We had these when we were growing up, as well as Advent wreaths. And the Advent wreaths hold the 4 candles of Advent. There's 3 purple, 1 pink. We'll go into that a little more. But it's a way to really mark this season of active waiting, this season of preparation for Christmas, which some celebrate as the anniversary of Jesus's birth and celebration. And others can also celebrate in the mystical sense of preparing for Christ consciousness and celebrating the birth of a man who fully embodied Christ consciousness to walk and talk it on this planet and caused such a movement that thousands of years later, there's still wars being fought, which is crazy and defeats the purpose of his teachings, but that's another episode. And as I started thinking about Advent, I was thinking about how we used to practice as a family, as kids growing up. And I grew up in the Methodist church. My mom also had the Advent candles, the Advent wreath on the dinner table. So we would light the appropriate Advent candles. But I don't think I ever fully connected to the heart space. I don't think I ever fully connected to the beauty and the presence of what was once a ritual and now is a little more of a tradition, what it really meant. And I don't really think I could have at that age. Being young, you kind of go through the motions. It's part of Christmas. There's a lot of parts of Christmas. There's a lot of part of the holidays in general. But now, as I've gone through my own spiritual exploration, my own mystical awakening, reconnected to my own flavor and essence of connection to the divine, I'm really kind of blown away by the power of this ritual, if we so choose. Right? It's like, if we so choose. And it kind of opened the door for me to really begin to explore how many beautiful traditions, I'll say traditions, there are in religion. These things that have been passed down from generation to generation. And what I believe has caused part of the mass exodus from organized religion to spirituality is that they've become traditions instead of rituals. They've become actions that people do because they were taught to do them, and they do them from more of a headspace and a mental space and less of a heart space and an inner connection, right? Religion is very structured. It's very ordered. There's rules. There's a do this because. And over time, you lose, not everybody, not every church, not everything, but for the most part, it loses the connection. It loses the purpose of what once was. And there is the opportunity to reconnect to that, to reconnect to even the meanings of lighting a candle, right? And are you doing it with presence? Are you doing it with heart space? Or are you rushing through and just lighting the flame and moving on? So this is an invitation. This is an invitation not just for Advent, but to perhaps take a look at your life and things and the ways that you are going through the motions, and notice that there's an invitation to pause. There's an invitation to connect. There's an invitation for intentionality. And we get to create that for ourselves. My parents sent me a book recently called Holy Moments, which was really beautiful. And it kind of talked about the distinction of kind of ordinary moments versus holy moments. And I realized that my view on that is that all moments are holy. It just depends through which lens are we viewing. Are we seeing this moment as holy? Are we connected to ourselves? Are we connected to our alignment? Or are we connected to our headspace and this kind of ordinary world? Not making one right or one wrong, but to me, the moments have every moment has the opportunity to be holy. So I invite you, I'm going to go into a little bit more of the Advent season now, but I just invite you overall to notice where in your life you can add more holy moments. You can add more of the sacred. You can add more of the ritual. Because beneath every religion is ritual, right? There's a reason that there's candles. There's a reason that there's hymns. That there's a reason that there's prayers. And when we go through the motions, we lose the magic. We lose that heart space. So an invitation to come back to that heart space. And as I kind of describe this Christian tradition of Advent, know that even if you're not Christian, if you don't identify at all, this season can still be something that you tap into. Much like knowing astrologically where the moon is and tapping into that energy, Advent is an energy, a collective energy. There's a lot of Christians around the world. And so there's a collective energy that's happening that you can tap into of this preparation in a more mystical sense for Christ consciousness coming alive in you and coming alive in the world. And each week in Advent is themed. So I'm going to invite you each week to sit with the themes, to contemplate the themes. And the themes are hope, peace, joy, and love. And we're going to look at them from both the Christian faith and a more mystical, more expanded view. And I want to say, when I talk about the mystical, when I talk about the spiritual, it is just that. It is not an either or. It is not a Christian or you're mystical or spiritual. In my particular view, again, it's really important to know the lens and the view of who's speaking, who you're listening to, who you're learning from. In my particular view, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, all these beautiful religions have a place in the world. And spirituality and mysticism is not an either or, but rather it's an expansion that can hold them all. So it's tapping into the current of love that runs through all the beautiful traditions, all the beautiful religions, all of the practices that I personally believe different people relate to at different times in different cultures in different life circumstances, right? So in my view, when I say mysticism and spirituality, it holds it all. And whether you connect to God or the divine or the universe in a church pew or on a mountaintop or under a tree. That's the beauty of spiritual exploration. And that's the beauty of finding your own connection and finding your own essence, which, if you look in Christianity, Yeshua, Jesus, did himself, right? So no matter where you are on the path, there is no right or wrong. There's just an invitation for ritual. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Mystic Bloom. I feel so grateful and fortunate to be able to have these conversations, both within my community and now extending to a further community online. And if you would like to learn more about Advent before you listen to the next episode of week 1 of the Advent journey, you can go to the Mystic Bloom website, the show notes, or the Instagram page to download that ritual guide to learn more about the specifics from both a Christian tradition and a mystical tradition. And each week I'll be sharing a message and a meditation and some contemplation questions to align with that guide.